If you've been pouring bags of commercial fertilizer into your soil, thinking you're feeding your plants, you might actually be doing the opposite. Here's the truth most gardeners and growers don't want to face. The modern fertilizer craze that promised bigger yields and faster growth has quietly poisoned the very life that makes soil fertile in the first place. The invisible ecosystem beneath your feet, the bacteria, fungi, and especially the worms, has been fighting a losing battle. But there's an old-world fix, one that farmers used long before the chemical era, and it still works better than anything sold in a bag today. The secret lies in giving your soil life, not nutrients, and once you start using it, your worms will multiply like wildfire. For decades, chemical fertilizers have been marketed as the lifeblood of modern agriculture. NPK labels, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium, became a religion of sorts. Farmers and backyard growers alike were told that sprinkling these compounds was the shortcut to healthy crops. And at first, it worked. Plants grew fast, leaves turned green, and yields increased. But over time, something began to change. The soil itself, the rich, spongy structure that holds life, started to collapse. Worms disappeared. The earth hardened. Organic matter declined. The reason is simple. Synthetic fertilizers feed the plant, not the soil. Every time you add them, you're forcing growth rather than nurturing it. It's like feeding a person caffeine instead of a full meal. It gives short-term energy, but the system weakens over time. Chemical salts in fertilizers dehydrate microbial life. They burn delicate fungal networks that help roots absorb nutrients. They acidify the soil and strip away the natural carbon that gives it structure. And when the microbial chain breaks, worms, nature's engineers, have nothing left to eat. Once they vanish, soil turns lifeless. Long before modern fertilizers existed, traditional farmers had to find ways to restore their fields year after year without industrial chemicals. They turned to decomposition, the natural cycle that builds life from death. Every scrap of organic matter, from animal waste to crop residues, was recycled into compost. But there was one technique that went even deeper, feeding worms directly through vermicomposting. Instead of trying to fertilize plants, this method enriches the entire soil web. It starts with organic waste, vegetable scraps, coffee grounds, shredded paper and decomposing leaves, mixed and moistened in a shaded bin or pile. Worms, usually red wigglers or African night crawlers, are introduced into this environment. They consume the material, digest it, and excrete castings that are biologically active and perfectly balanced for plant nutrition. Worm castings are the gold standard of soil health. They contain not only nutrients in a slow-release form, but also beneficial microbes, enzymes and humic acids that transform the structure of the soil itself. In nature, this is how fertile ground is made. Forests don't need fertilizer bags, because worms, fungi and microbes keep recycling everything from fallen leaves to animal droppings into nourishment. Creating your own worm-friendly fertilizer substitute is not complicated, and once it starts working, your soil practically rebuilds itself. Start with a basic container, a wooden box, old plastic tub, or even a trench dug in the ground. Add a bedding layer of shredded paper, cardboard, or dried leaves, then moisten it so it feels like a wrung-out sponge. Add your food scraps, vegetable peels, fruit waste, eggshells and coffee grounds work perfectly. and introduce a handful of composting worms. Within weeks, you'll see the material transforming into dark, rich soil full of worm activity. What's happening beneath the surface is remarkable. Worms break down waste, their digestive systems adding beneficial microbes and minerals that were locked away. The castings they leave behind act like a sponge, holding up to 10 times their weight in moisture and nutrients. When you mix these castings into your soil or brew them into worm tea, you're restoring microbial life while balancing pH and structure naturally. Unlike synthetic fertilizers, worm compost doesn't wash away with rain or harm soil biology. It strengthens roots, improves aeration, and boosts disease resistance. You're no longer forcing your plants to grow, you're giving them the living foundation they evolved to thrive in. Healthy soil isn't a pile of dirt. It's a breathing, interconnected world of life. Every handful should contain billions of microorganisms that convert organic matter into usable food for plants. Worms are the visible engineers of this system, constantly aerating and digesting material. When you switch from fertilizers to worm-based compost, you're effectively rebuilding this system from the ground up. One fascinating discovery from regenerative farming research is that worm castings stimulate natural plant hormones like auxins and gibberellins, compounds that encourage root growth and stress resistance. This means your plants can find their own nutrients deeper in the soil, reducing your dependency on additives. Over time, you'll see fewer pests, stronger stems, and richer flavour in fruits and vegetables. In modern practice, this method is being revived by both small-scale gardeners and large regenerative farms. Many start by phasing out fertilizers gradually, mixing worm castings into planting holes, layering them over beds, or adding worm tea during watering. The soil responds quickly, becoming darker, softer, and teeming with life. Once worms start multiplying on their own, you'll know the balance is returning. Every handful of soil has a story to tell. If it's dry, compacted and lifeless, it's crying out for biology, not chemicals. The shift from synthetic to natural worm-based soil care is not just about better gardening. It's about restoring a natural partnership that's been broken by convenience. Worms are the custodians of fertility, and when you give them what they love, organic matter, moisture and shelter, they repay you with soil that never needs synthetic inputs again. You don't need expensive gear or special products to start. A simple compost pile or worm bin can produce all the fertility your garden will ever require. This is how soil healed itself for millennia, and it still works better than anything created in a lab. If you found this deep dive into natural soil regeneration helpful, make sure to subscribe to Hydrohaven for more timeless methods that connect nature's old wisdom with modern sustainability. Share this guide with someone still hooked on fertilizer myths, and remind them when you feed the worms, you feed the world beneath your feet. The future of farming isn't chemical, it's alive.